How many podcasts do you come across that have the balls to open up and let everything out there? And not only that, but let you say what you want to say. Well, that's why we're here. This is Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. An open forum where you're part of the show. Real, raw, and nothing is off limits. And we do mean nothing. So light it up and let's set this bitch on fire. Truth, lies, and political bullshit. And now your host, Sean Morse.
Hey everybody, Sean Morse with Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. I hope you're doing well. Listen, I think everybody knows that I don't do any scripts when I do my podcast, right? I don't script anything. I don't write anything down beforehand. I kind of just talk from my heart because I think when you write shit down, people can tell you read it. When you talk to your audience from your heart, I think they can feel it. And you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to talk from my heart. I want to talk from truth, lies, and political bullshit to the people watching the show. Hey, sometimes you slip up with words. Sometimes something comes out a little funny, but hey, it's real. And that's what we want here at Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. We just want to be real. We don't want none of that bullshit where you script stuff down and people go, he's reading off of a teleprompter. I ain't reading off of shit. I'm at my kitchen table. That's my big office that I have doing this show, right from my house to your house or to wherever you are. So I want to talk about something that's really pissing me off and something that should be pissing you off as well, because it's New York State once again that you wake up and go, holy shit, can New York State get any worse? Yeah, it can get worse. You know why? Because now we are attacking healthcare workers. We always seem to have to attack somebody. That's just what we do in the state of New York. If you're not stealing money 3 days before Christmas, giving yourself these $32,000 raises, you're trying to figure out how to knock somebody off a pedestal. You know, when this pandemic hit, and boy, it was a scary time, right? Especially for healthcare workers. They're on the front line. They're in these hospitals. They don't know what the hell is going on. People are getting sick. The hospitals are overrun. But you know what? They were there. They were the heroes. And we were treating them like heroes. These hospitals were full of people with this disease that we didn't know what the hell it would do to you if you caught it. We knew a lot of people were dying. A lot of people were getting sick. But who stayed right there? The healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, CNAs, and everybody else who makes the emergency rooms and hospitals work. They were there on the front freaking line. And they never took off, right? They didn't say, holy shit, we're running because we could get sick and pass this on to our family. No, they stood there taking care of your family. And guess what? A bunch of politicians who were hiding in their fucking basement, they pop their head out and they do a little clap for them and say how great they are and how we need to give them everything they ever need because we have to be prepared for these pandemics. And these people are the best in the world. Nurses, doctors, CNAs, and whatever else that staff consists of in the emergency room. They were the heroes. And now guess what? The same freaking people who used them on a political campaign flyer, who said how great they were, who were hiding in their basement because they didn't want to come out and get sick, are now saying to these healthcare workers, hey, if you don't get the shot, you're out of a job. Kathy Hochul, governor of the state of New York, you're out of a job. As of today, and look, the numbers can fluctuate. I don't have the numbers exactly, but I did a little research to find out how many people were out of work. It looks like it's between 78 and 80,000 people who would not take the shot because they were concerned for their own health and welfare about a vaccination that we don't know a whole hell of a lot, or we didn't know back then. We know a lot more about it today, and they were probably right in the sense that it has caused some problems. And they were not willing to risk their lives or their kids' lives for those problems, especially when they started finding out that you can survive this virus. And many people don't even get sick. And the sickest and the frailest and the oldest are the ones who are at most risk. So maybe they knew more than we did when people were jabbing it in their arms. Now, I'm not saying that I'm anti-vax, right? You have to make those decisions. But I believe, like the New York State legislature and the governor has been screaming for women's rights forever, that they have a right to decide what's best for their body. What happened? That just disappeared now because they want you to stick a needle in your arm. You don't have a right to decide what goes in your body when it comes to the vaccination. That's the crazy shit about New York, right? It's one way. Do what we say, not what we do. And so here are these healthcare workers out of work. Now, if that is not bad enough that they're out of work, starving, can't pay their mortgages, can't take care of their kids, trying to figure out how to put food on their table. Man-made. This is a man-made decision from a governor and a state legislature who allowed it to happen, silent like they usually are, saying nothing. They don't want to rock the boat. And so here these healthcare workers are. And why they're sitting home, begging to come back to work, wanting to go back and help people, because that's what they were born to do, help people. Our hospitals are in fucking crisis, right? We don't have enough people in the emergency rooms to help the sickest people who come to the emergency room. Now, I'm being told that there's 15-hour waiting periods in some of these hospitals. 15 hours. People are dying to get in because they're sick as dogs. Some of them may actually be dying, right? Heart attacks and all kinds of other things. And they're laying in the hallways on gurneys, or they're sitting out in the waiting room in a fucking chair that breaks your back. You go there because you have a kidney infection and they got to, fix your back because you've been sitting in the chair for 15 hours. That's what's happening. It's like we're herding cattle. We don't have no compassion. We don't care. Because if you cared, you would say, let's put these people back to work. Now, listen, I'm going to give the governor a little bit of a benefit here, right? In the early stages of this pandemic, we didn't know what the hell to do, right? Then all of a sudden, mysteriously, they come out with a vaccination that's supposed to, A, stop the spread of COVID, B, stop you from getting sick, and kind of be the magic bullet. That was what we were sold. That was the bill of goods we were sold. And that's what they wanted you to believe when they were jabbing you in the arm with something that they didn't even know what the hell it was going to do. And Pfizer, and I've only seen it on another podcast and on the news, that a Pfizer rep came out and said, well, we didn't really test it for the spread. It's crazy, right? But that's how they sold this thing. So now we have all these people sitting home, hospitals being overrun with sick people, and we do nothing about it because we're sticking to the guns about if you don't get the jab, you can't come back to work. And so let me just play this. Let me pull up this Kathy Hochul video because I think it's important to see. This was her position when the vaccination first came out and we were sold the bill of goods. So I'll give her a little benefit of the doubt. She was sold the bill of goods too. And that's why she pushed for it. So here's what she's got to say.
All the other healthcare workers who are vaccinated, they also deserve to know that the people they're working with will not get them sick.
Now, hey, listen, I can't say that I disagree with her other than there's other ways to prevent the spread of the virus, right? Because they were working in the hospitals for a long time with no precautions other than the infectious control precautions. And a lot of them did not get sick. Or if they did get sick, again, we found out that some of them didn't even have symptoms. So it's impossible to tell. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because back then there was all kinds of, shit going on. A lot of people were confused. I'll say she was confused as well. But now it's been almost 3 years since that mandate came out. Recently, the lower courts have said, hey, you can't do that. Sorry, Governor. And they told them to remove the vaccination mandate and let those people come back to work. But you know what? She can't lose, right? She's now taking on the nurses and the doctors because she's the power broker, and she can't lose because if she loses, she looks like a jerk. That's not true. We all make decisions, and then sometimes we have to backtrack. That's leadership when you come out and say, I made the wrong decision. But no, they have to act like, nope, I don't care what the courts say. We're going to challenge that. So here we are in a crisis, 78,000 nurses and doctors and healthcare workers out of work. Right? Hospitals busting at the seams. Courts say bring you back to work. And guess what? She won't do it. She just recently said, I ain't doing it. But before I play her latest statement, let me bring in something else, right? Let me bring in Dr. Fauci to the show. And he's not here in person, believe me. But I wanted to bring in a video of Dr. Fauci because I found it to be really, really, really mind-blowing to me because here's the guy who set the table for everybody when it came to this virus and what we had to do. Wear a mask, close down the business, shut down the world. Let's just, destroy everything in our civilization because Dr. Fauci said that's the only way to survive. Even though there was hundreds of doctors smarter than him saying, no, that's not what we have to do. But we woke them out of fucking business. We closed them right out. We shut down their websites, their YouTube channels, their podcasts, whatever we had to do to shut them up, because this was the direction that the government wanted to take. this was the direction of the forest left, and this is the guy they picked, Dr. Fauci, who was going to be their leader. But so she may have made a mistake in the beginning, but since then, a lot of things have changed in the pursuit of understanding this virus. And Dr. Fauci, if he's the one who sets the table, then you would think she'd listen to him when he came out with a comment that's contradicting her position. Let me play Dr. Fauci.
We are seeing that the ability of individuals who are infected through breakthrough infections, namely vaccinated people who ultimately get infected, that they are generally without symptoms or minimally symptomatic. However, it is clear that they are capable of transmitting the infection to uninfected individuals. And the data that they reported indicates that if you look at the level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and has a breakthrough infection, and compare that to the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person who's infected, they're essentially equivalent, which would go along and underscore the fact that vaccinated people who do have a breakthrough infection are clearly capable of transmitting the infection to an uninfected person.
There you go. There you go, right? So the guy who told you in the beginning you had to do all these things to protect the world has now said it doesn't matter if you have the vaccination, if you don't have the vaccination, because the shit lives in your nose, and no matter what, it's going to spread. We can't stop the spread of the virus. So we take these universal infectious control precautions. That's what we do. That's what we've been doing since the beginning of the time. 26 years as a firefighter, we had to take those same precautions. We went into houses with people very sick with very contagious viruses, but we had to take precautions because we didn't have vaccinations for every disease in the world, right? So we had to protect ourselves. And he's saying now you don't have to worry about whether they have the vaccination or not for transmission purposes because it doesn't make a difference. So why the hell is the governor just a couple weeks ago still taking the position when she's being begged by people to bring these workers back because our hospitals are in chaos and people ain't getting treated, and we have people getting sicker because we don't have nobody to treat them than the freaking viruses. So if you catch the virus, you're not as sick as the people waiting in the freaking hospital. So we have all these people waiting to get care, sicker than the virus makes you, and she still takes the position after Dr. Fauci says it doesn't matter. Listen to what she says, because if it doesn't make you realize that the country is being run by a bunch of morons, then I don't know what else I can do here in Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit to show it to you. But let them speak from their own mouths, and you tell me what they think. You just heard Dr. Fauci. It doesn't matter. Underscore, right? Underscore. If you have the shot or not, you're still going to transmit the virus. So here's the governor now, just a couple days ago.
Very involved in to make sure that patients are being cared for. It's a problem, but I don't think the answer is to have someone who comes in who's sick be exposed to someone who can give them the coronavirus, give them COVID-19. I don't know that that's the right answer. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not. So we're exploring our options, but I think everybody who goes into a healthcare facility or a nursing home should have the assurance, and their family members should know, that we have taken all steps to protect the public health, and that includes making sure those who come in contact with them at their time of most vulnerability, when they are sick or elderly, will not pass on the virus. We lost 34 New Yorkers yesterday. We have 4,000 active cases. This has not gone away as much as we wish it would.
Couldn't there be other safety precautions, masking, other mechanisms in order to allow some of them back in? I mean, we're at crisis level here in our hospitals, and particularly in our nursing homes.
I truly understand the challenge and the balance, and these are never easy decisions. But I cannot put people into harm's way.
There you go, Governor. We're in a crisis mode. Isn't there other alternatives like we've used well before this particular virus? We brought people into the United fucking States with Ebola. All right, there ain't no cure for Ebola, but we use universal precautions to keep people from catching the virus. So now you got Dr. Fauci telling you, hey, Governor, time out. You can bring them back to work because from your position, you don't want to bring people back to work because you don't want the sickest getting sick by the people taking care of them. Well, then shut the fucking hospital down because everybody who's in the hospital, vaccinated or not, can still pass the virus. It blows my mind. It tells me that either A, she don't give a shit, B, she's taking a position because she don't want to look like she didn't know what she was doing before, or C, she's a fucking moron. And that happens more times than not, right? People are morons. They just don't get it. I'm in control. This is your life. I don't care. I'm in control, and I'm going to tell you how to live it. That's what New York State has done. That's what New York State continues to do. That's the problems that we're facing right now in New York State with a crisis on our hands where people are sick as sick can be, laying in the fucking hallways of hospitals, trying to get somebody to help them. People are trying their best in the hospitals. 78,000 people sitting home with all of the skills to help them. And because the governor says, I don't want to put sick people in a place where other people can get them sick, I don't even have words. I'm lost for words. I really am, because I shake my head. And we elected these people. We continue to elect morons to run our lives. Maybe we like to be controlled by morons. Maybe we find it funny. Maybe we sit here and say, hey, this has got to be something I have to laugh at because I'm going to fucking cry that somebody is so stupid that they won't let people come back to help us that don't have the shot because they don't want them to get anybody sick when the guy who's the foremost in the world's telling you it doesn't matter. And it's not just Dr. Fauci. They've been saying that forever, right? Since the beginning of this pandemic, there has been some of the smartest minds in the world saying, this is not going to stop the spread. It may help you not get as sick, which is still a good thing if you want to take it, right? But so does a natural immunity, which I think is better. God gave you natural immunity to fight diseases, man. And it seems that natural immunity has done a great deal in protecting us. But we didn't even want to talk about natural immunity for the longest time. Everything was shut down businesses, close everything up, take the shot. That's what we're telling you to do. And since we're telling you to do it, then it's got to be the gospel, right? Because we are the ones in charge. And by the way, you did elect us because we're so smart and we know everything. So you know what? I just want the nurses and the doctors and the healthcare workers to know the truth lies in political bullshit, and everybody watching the show. Well, not everybody. I'll have some people contacting me, tell me I'm a fucking moron, but that's okay because I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming to be a doctor. I'm trying to be a common sense guy, right? I did work in the healthcare in the sense I was a fireman. I was the first one to go in and see all these sick people when we were bringing them to the hospital, right? So I was there. No vaccination back in the beginning of this pandemic. I was retired by then, but I know many people that were, working on the fire department that had to go into these houses. And I believe it actually started a little bit sooner than we say. So I'm sure that I ran into some people that had the coronavirus because we don't know a whole hell of a lot. We certainly don't know the A to Z's about the, when it started. They hide that from us too and where it came from. So here's the bottom line. If you live in New York State, you woke up again with another reason to go, oh my God, New York is becoming the cesspool of all states outside of California. That's really got some problems. We're right there. It seems like we teach California. California teaches us. We both teach each other how to do the most fucked up shit that screws the people more than anything in the world. And they just follow each other because it's like, duck, duck, goose. But hey, tell the healthcare workers that you see that you support them. Let them know that you care about them. Let them know they're getting screwed because that's really what's happening. They're getting screwed. And, until the governor loses in the higher courts and they say, bring them back to work, she's just going to make them sit home and starve to death. So you got people in the hospital who are sick. They're not getting the care they need. The healthcare workers are ready, willing, and able. The governor is saying no. So here's the end of this podcast about this particular issue, right? Because I just really want you to just understand how embarrassing it is and how screwed up it is and how incompetent it is to live here in the state of New York. So we just talked about the major problem, right? What is the major problem that is causing the hospital crisis? 78,000 people who are out of work because the government said you can't come back unless you take the needle. Dr. Fauci says that's not correct. Governor says, I'm the governor. It is correct. We're not bringing it back. So Fauci was a hero, just like in the eyes of the government. He was a hero, just like our healthcare workers, and now he must be a zero, just like our healthcare workers, because now she doesn't want to listen to him, and everybody's out of a job, and most Americans who still rely on Fauci have to be shaking their head if they watch this podcast, because how in the hell can America listen to this guy all the way through this pandemic, but only in New York State now when he says, don't worry about the shot because it doesn't stop the spread? How can New York State say, oh, well, we're not going to listen to you no more? People in America, all across America, I think, are shaking their head. If you live in New York, you're really just disgusted by this whole process. But let me just go back to where I was going to say. So now you have a state legislature, right? These are the brightest and the people with all the wisdom. These are the people who are going to fix your fucking problems. So here's what they say. Well, we need to figure out why there's a crisis in our hospitals, and we're going to hold a bunch of hearings. Well, save your fucking breath. I just saved you all of your valuable time. You don't have to have a hearing. Just be careful, because I just told you, your governor won't let people back to work. Fauci says it's okay to let them back to work, and you're going to hold a fucking $100 meeting to solve a $5 problem so that you can say to these people, well, we're having hearings. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You're not looking to get to the bottom of shit. You're just looking to be the puppets that you are and look like you're going through the motion, and you're really holding your fucking breath that the highest courts bring them back to work, and then somehow you'll wiggle your tentacles into there and say, we were part of making that happen. We were with you. We were always with you. We were holding hearings. We were going to go after the governor. Bullshit. You're cowards. Or come out right now and say, bring them back to work. Bring them back to work. Bring them back to work. But you won't do that. You'll hide in your little offices with your $32,000 fucking raise and do nothing to help these people who are home starving. That's New York. That's where we live. That's the government we have. And the only way it's going to change is if you vote in the voting booth, circle the little fucking names, put it into the machine, and make sure the name is not one person that's in there now. Otherwise, you're going to get what you always had. You're going to eat the shit sandwich, because that's what they do to you. I don't know what people have to have done to them in their lives before they say, I may like the guy. He may seem like a nice guy. I might like that girl. She may seem like a nice girl. But you know what? Who cares if they're nice? That's what politicians do. They're nice. But the reality is, if they're nice and they let you lay in the fucking hospital for 17 hours because they don't want to say to the governor, because they got no balls, hey, we need to put these people back to work, then who cares if they're nice? There's nice people all over the world, right? I wouldn't let a nice guy do surgery on me if he wasn't the fucking best doctor. Why are you letting somebody represent your life and your livelihood if they're doing a shitty job? Because they're nice? Well, I hope that I'm nice as well. And I hope that you think that Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit was nice enough to bring you this podcast, because I'm certainly sure that I'll get the shit kicked out of me by all those left-wing crazies that they're going to send my way. But that's okay, because that's what the show's about. Just talking about the truth, right? And let you decide, truth, lies, or bullshit. And right now, here's what you have. You have a governor who's lying, okay? You have a doctor who's telling you the truth, finally, that the vaccination doesn't stop the spread. And you got the bullshit called the legislature, who's going to have fucking meetings so you can have the feeling that, hey, they care about me. They don't care about you. I care about you. The people watching this show care about you. And we're going to support you in every way that we can. Healthcare workers, Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit's with you. The audience is with you. The people care about you with you. And we're going to pray for you. And however we can help, call the show, send me emails. It's a really easy Sean Moore's podcast at gmail.com. And anybody wants to come on. There was another thing. I had a whole bunch of people want to talk to me. Nobody wants to come on because you know why? They're petrified that if they go on and talk about anything, they'll never get their jobs back. People are not able to pay their mortgages. Can you imagine that? Can't pay your fucking mortgage? You dedicated your whole life. You stood on the front line. You took the bullets for everybody. And now they screw you over. Welcome to my world. That's what politics is, 101. Screw everybody over unless it benefits you. Hey, this is Sean Morse with Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. I hope you have a great day. Let's continue to pray and support our healthcare workers in every way that we can. And until tomorrow, be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. Sick and tired of all the stuffy podcasts? We wanted to create something real, something raw, where there are no limits. Sean has held political office for 20 years. been a professional firefighter and been through hell and back. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. See you next time on Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit.